Review Moon Knight, episodes 2 and 3. Sorry I haven't reviewed them individually. I just haven't had the time. So let's talk. Sorry if you hear wind going on in the background. There's a lot of wind around where I live right now. So let's review Moon Knight. So episode 2 is definitely as impactful as episode 1, where it's really mysterious. You don't know who our main character is, Mark Spector, or whatever you want to call him, and we slowly get to learn more about him, and apparently it's definitely a personality problem. We get to see that he is actually switching personalities, and the creative thing they do is they have the British version of him is stuck on the glass. You can only see him through the glass, and then we see his Moon Knight mode just full on, and it's really well done. That's what I really like about this episode. And we get to meet this one girl. I forget her name. I didn't learn it, but she was the one that was on the phone call the last episode. And so yeah, and they get into a big goose chase by the cops, even though they were fake cops, and that was pretty entertaining. And and then eventually it's and then he gets his true power when he turns into a different Moon Knight. He doesn't turn into the hooded version until later, but instead he turns into Mr. Knight. I forget what it's called. So, and this one, he looks kind of like Dead. He reminded me of Deadpool. I don't know why. I'm not saying they have the same humor or anything, but something about the mask and the way he's dressed, it just looks like something Deadpool would wear. And he fights this one goon, and he's just whatever. He thinks he's not good at fighting, but he ends up winning the fight or whatever, and eventually he has to fight this invisible figure, and that was pretty entertaining. It was kind of funny seeing them trying to figure out where he is, and while this is all going on, Ethan Hawke's gang is gaining up on them or whatever, and I want to learn more about Ethan Hawke's character, because I don't really feel like he's doing too much. His powers are interesting, because he can kill somebody by just using these, I don't know, these magicianal powers. He also unleashes a wormhole. It felt different because we never really see random stuff like that in the MCU. And basically what they want is this thing that Mark has. It's this thing from the museum. I'm sorry if I seem very vague in this review, because I'm slowly trying to figure out everything in this show. So, this episode was good. It was definitely as good as the first one, as I said, so I'd give this one an 8 out of 10. So, the third episode, which came out a few days ago, and, this episode, I got a hot take. I couldn't really get into this one as the other two, because at the end of this episode, the last one, Oscar Isaac's character wakes up in a hotel room, and then he realizes he's in Egypt, and I went, oh, okay, so it looks like we're going to be exploring Egypt. And that's what they kind of do. It immediately opens with him on a foot chase, and and we find out that he actually is committing murder, because he's switching from personality, and they're don't do it, and they're trying to convince him how bad and wrong it is for what he's doing. And that part felt very interesting for me, because that's what the personality problem does for Mark. And this episode was kind of just slower for me, because Ethan Hawke's gang is slowly trying to find what that little thing, or I don't know. But also we get to learn more, and they go into this Egyptian looking room, and we see these group of people, and they're all talking or whatever, and we get a few Easter eggs like Black Panther or whatever. And so, they're trying to keep things, vague from the MCU timeline, since this probably does take place after Hawkeye. But, then we get, a random, this horse chase scene, where we meet, the character Black Knight. I think that's what he's called. And he's played by the one actor who passed away recently. Rest in peace. I heard he got into a snowboarding accident, and it's unfortunate. And he never got to see Moon Knight be a success. So I thought that was nice to see him. But as this is going on, the Ethan Hawke's gang catches up to Moon Knight, and he then turns into Moon Knight. Like, he actually gets the hood on and stuff, the costume, and he also switches between Mr. Knight and Moon Knight. And I love this one shot where he's on a building and he just straight up looks like Batman. And, like, it just reminded me so much of Batman. I don't know why. And we got a pretty cool final action scene. And then a few more random things happen, and the episode kind of just ends. So just even though this episode wasn't as big as the other two, in my opinion, I felt it was decent enough. I'm probably gonna have to rewatch it. So I probably give this one probably a low 7 out of 10 for me. So please tell me what you think of Moon Knight episode 2 and 3. I don't hate the show at all. I'm actually liking it because I want to know more, as I keep saying. So yes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.